Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me. This is Dr. Rao Palasu. I'm bringing in this podcast for all people as we. Okay. So, good morning again. Welcome to everybody on all channels. I'm broadcasting this on the voice on WhatsApp and Noom Vibe, and video on Instagram and LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Welcome, Janet. Welcome, everybody, for the second episode of this podcast. We started with for the proactive wellness. We are not going to just get ill and suffer, but kind of apply our wisdom and scientific knowledge to our lifestyles, and then thereby we can really. Okay. Okay. So it's kind of important to understand where our healthcare is, where our healthcare services are, where our uh, understanding of how we can do some things by ourselves proactively to be well. That's the emphasis of this podcast, to show people that we can do so many things by ourselves uh, with the existing knowledge or the knowledge we had, and thereby we can live a healthy and well life for long, and also not just existing on medications, having no pep, no life at all, but rather enjoy the things that we can do in a way that is meaningful and eventually purposeful in our life. Okay. So what is happening in society, as I observed for more than 4 decades as a physician practicing in the United States, and also observing the state of health in everywhere, and comparing how the ancients were, we kind of came up with an online wellness company. It's called PAW, where I provide online services combining modern medicine, scientific medicine, and also ancient wisdom. Okay, this podcast is going to bring out all those things regarding what is wellness, why are we not well, why are we always sick, why we have so many chronic diseases, why we have so much of mental illness, why we don't have the pep and energy, why don't we have the uh, just for life, the vitality of life, because we kind of eat food that is polluted. We kind of become sedentary because of the comforts that we have, creature comforts or conveyances and all that. And also, we don't sleep very well because there is so much online activity, nighttime activity. And then also, we don't know what's the quality of sleep. And we don't know how to keep our mind calm. That is the biggest problem these days. Okay. So, yesterday, we talked about that we work too much without really paying attention to our inner being, inner self, right? So that is what is important to understand, that we could work, but we work kind of, smartly, and also understand how do we employ our valuable instruments of body and the mind. The movement of mind is very essential. Okay, so note that down. And then so many systems that were practiced for centuries, thousands of years, they were paying attention to that. Whereas as modern people, we allow so many stimuli to go and influence us. All the marketers, all the advertisers, they look for how can I have business? How can I sell something? At the cost of attention, at the cost of really allowing this movement of mind go all over. Thereby, we are not really benefiting from that. So a situation arises, we react so easily. We're conditioned to react, right? We don't really understand what are the consequences of that constant reactivity. Okay, just like we are sick and we go and the healthcare system is reacting to your illness without really giving a lot of importance to educate you about how you might have prevented that. That is where I want the healthcare systems to go, wellness oriented. Granted, we have to treat when the person is sick, that is given, but I don't believe as healthcare people, I am one of them, even though I retired from the clinical medicine, I embarked on this bigger journey of really awakening people to the possibility of being well for a long time and also enjoys. Okay, enjoy, not just existing in nursing homes and medications. Unfortunately, a lot of people are confined to that. But then, as a conscientious physicians and nurses, we always feel if only they have come earlier, if only they have really looked at these things in a different way and then understood, we can improve our self-care by eating right, by raising the food that we eat right, and then by preparing it right, and also by consuming right, like that. Okay, you take any lifestyle, eating, moving, exercising, sleep, or how we react to life, all these things are important, right? So you want to understand that, and that's why I started this podcast, so that many people will be reached with this message that there are some things in our control, there are some things we can control very well. Okay, so let's do that. And yesterday we talked about too much doing and too little being is our problem as modern people, all of us, right? So we have to pay attention to that and then say, okay, let me see what is the areas of my life I can look at and improve myself. One other thing is, don't work too much, but work smartly, take breaks and reflect on what happened in your life, and then go from that input that you get just by staying put. And this is what the ancients did in a major way. What they did was they started the day in awareness. That means in doing in the present moment, and then lived all day in that attention, in that presence, and then they cleared their mind completely. That they kind of said chitta vritti nirodha. That is the essence of the yoga. Epitome of the Patanjali yoga is you kind of nirodha means stop them. Chitta vritti means modulations of the mind, all the movements that are going on. It's not that thinking is bad. Maybe we are missing out how we should be using thinking, which is a very powerful, sharp instrument. If you don't, any sharpness cuts you if you don't use a prop. Like that, this constant thinking really got into that. Okay, constant thinking and the constant exposure to the stimuli is the bane of the modern information society. We got a lot of information. Information is not bad, but how are you allowing the information affect your life? Is it improving your quality of life, or is it making you more addicted to thinking? That's one of the biggest addictions. I think Peter knows what are the problems with addiction. But the biggest addiction we all have is constant thinking. Don't know how to stop it. Go on thinking, go on putting more and more stuff. So today we're going to explore on that and then see what is that biology of this burnout, why people are burning out so easily, and why there is so much prevalence even among the doctors. That's what I do. I try to help people not to. But I was not burnout, even though I had so many challenges in my life, including a stroke. Because of I was able to be in the present, and I was able to do micro yoga. I was able to do the breathing, and these three helped me to get out of the full-blown hemiplegia. And then 2014, and within a month, I was back to see my patients in my clinic. You know, so I thought that was really important that we understand what is the contribution of ancient systems based on awareness. See, they are not based on thought like the modern systems are. These are awareness based, that is, body, mind together, and being aware of the body, aware of the mind movement. It's not just only body, but also the movement of thought. And stopping that movement, that means you are not going to react that easily. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the biology of this burnout. First of all, the numbers people are really, uh, doing the jobs and then getting burned out, and modern life getting burned out, and all that we think so much information, relevant information, insightful information, important, but allowing the information to get in and expose to whoever presents whatever. Internet can be a global gossip or a very effective tool to reach a lot of people, right? So the information age is putting so much information, we call it information overload. By the way, when I did my master's in biomedical informatics, that's the topic I did that on, information overload, way back in 2008. That's when I really did the thesis of that. And I was talking about we have too much information and this has become too much. I was always fascinated by the yogic finding of stillness of mind. I was always fascinated with the silence that they were talking about. And then Ramana Maharshi taught much in silence. I will explain that in the coming episodes, what that is mean. But basically, ancient system just allow the mind to go on thinking, thinking, thinking. But there was a switch in the modern times. Rene Descartes from France. He was a very good man, a very good scientist, but he said, I have to have a basis to say I am. And he thought, I'm not just the body, but I have the thinking. Because I'm thinking as a human being, I can remember, I can imagine. Those two functions we have, right? We can remember the past, and also we can dream about the future, we can plan for the future. These two qualities are there, but then if you are using both of them to live well in the present, that has meaning. But if you allow yourself to be lodged in long last life memory in the past, then you are not in the present. You are not in life. You are in your mind. The same with if you are dreaming, thinking about something or other, you make a plan, okay. But then if you are always dreaming, always in the future, then you are not living, you are not executing the plans that you have made. You may have a goal, you may have a plan, but then when you are executing it, it's the process. If you are thinking so many things in your mind about it, you are not in the present, you are not doing the process. It's as simple as that. Now the question is, are you being reactive with your mind for everything or not? In my morning routine, I always tell them, don't react, but respond. One of the things is just to understand how the whole biology works, nervous system works. This is where I got the most benefit for following the ancient wisdom. I followed them, how they manage their mind. I followed them, what is their understanding of mind and its movement. And I followed them making mind and thinking as objects, not my subjective self. My subjective self is that inner core of self being. And with that, staying in that, I don't need to even meditate. I can be in the meditative state where I am not carried away by the thoughts, but I can see the movement of it. So what I teach in the morning routine, you do your body stretches and you do deep breathing into your body stretches. While you are deep breathing, keep your attention on the breath and stay here and now, right? And third thing is, I say, okay, observe your thoughts, okay, and then being in the present, okay, make sure that you are in the present. These four things you can do. And then you want to do service, you want to be equanimous, and also you don't want to be reacting to everything, but respond. This is an important thing because most of the people think that reacting is human, it's normal, it's natural. Yeah, but if you are reacting to something that's not there, that is always something trivial, but you are reacting out of proportion to it, your fear, and you're kind of worried about it, then you are activating your sympathetic nervous system, which is supposed to work when there's a real danger, so that you can take off from there, right? But antidote for that is stimulating parasympathetic nervous system, which is a rest and digest system. That is really activated by the deep breathing. That's why deep breathing is so important in our daily life. So somebody had a cyber crime the other day, and lots of rupees money in India was taken away by this scammer. And at that time, I allowed her to keep her mind observed and keep it quiet, but use the mind to plan to what to do. This way, you will not be reacting to everything. Major things understood. But modern life is that it is built this fear all the time, reacting all the time. That is not really important. So reacting, but responding to the challenge of life is very important. Okay, so I'll always understand that. When you really understand the biology, like I'm going to describe that to you, you would be better off understanding your own life events and your reactions to them, and how to get out of those reactions, right? Like I was saying, Rene Descartes really understood that I'm not just the body, there must be something else. So I'm thinking, oh, that must be it. So he said, I think, therefore I am. And now, even modern sages like Eckhart Tolle, he also said he stopped too soon. He should have waited, and then he should have embarked on this consciousness, conscious being. That's what we are, right? Awareness, alertness, wakefulness. Without that consciousness, how can you live? Okay? If anybody gives you a lot of money, but they want your consciousness away, then you don't want to give it to them. What's the life without that consciousness, without that awareness, right? So he spoke too soon, and unfortunately, Western civilization got on that, and then even now they are following that. I think, therefore I am. No, thinking is one of your faculties. Body is also one of your tools, but you are aware of it. Thought, that's why you can use the thought, you can plan, or you can remember insights and all that. So understand this very good. Too much reaction, don't do that. Respond to the life challenges. So even Bhagavad Gita also, he talks about, don't worry about the results. Do your job, do your duty, and do it without movement of the mind. So that is actually being in the flow while you are doing something. Krishna tells Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, okay, don't worry about those old time where you do the rituals and you want something else. But modern India still does the rituals. They don't understand a significance. They don't understand that's not enough. That's only mean to stable your mind, and then with a stable mind, you can inquire into yourself and find out yourself, all that. So Krishna tells very clearly, you do your job, but you don't let your mind go all over. Okay? That he said skill in action. When you do something with pure attention, without really reacting your mind, that reactivity is because of the sympathetic overtone. And modern life full of places where you react all the time, from morning till evening. So that's why I said, okay, observe your thought, then the thought is reacting, you can see, and then it will stop by itself. Otherwise, if you allow it to be indulging you, and then you will be lost. That's where all the problems of mental illness, all the problems of distress, all the problems of burnout are centered. Why people are burning out? Where they are burning out? They are reacting all the time, reacting excessively, generating fear, generating anxiety, which produce further harms. So we are going to talk about the biology here, showing you how these things really help that. Okay, so like yesterday from doing, okay, today is the biology. You see, what we want help listeners here is see how the burnout as a reversible imbalance. It's an imbalance that is happening in your system, and that's why you feel the effects of it and you feel like overwhelmed, you cannot do anything. So we have what is called HPA axis and adrenal fatigue. What is the HPA? Hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal. These three glands, right? So what happens in sympathetic overtone is excessive cortisol, you know. And according to the yoga and Ayurveda, we have this vital energy called ojas. That, you see, really disturbed by your fearful reaction or by your danger. What you see, danger in everything, right? In the modern working condition, somebody may threaten you to fire you, or somebody may threaten you to reduce your compensation or give you a project and make you worry about it. And then don't do that. Do the stuff without having that sympathetic overtone by deep breathing. Okay, so healing begins when you stop running away from the rest. So you restful breathing, deep breathing, and encountering the sympathetic overtone by parasympathetic nervous system activation by deep breathing is a simple thing that you could do. But how many people are doing deep breathing? How many people even know what the deep breathing is? You know, if you don't know it, just observe your breath. Don't do anything. Observe where it is. Are you breathing deep into your lungs, where the abdomen is pushed to come out, and then your lungs are expanded. And then when you breathe out, is the abdomen going down, going into the spine, and pushing on the diaphragm so that you will expel more air. If you do that every hour per a minute, like a 7 or 8 times, and then focus your attention on the breath sensation, you will be in the present moment. At the same time, you're activating your parasympathetic nervous system. The biology is some stimuli, and then reaction, and then secretion of all these stress hormones, and then consequence of that on your organs. Don't do that. Okay? All you have to do is, why I'm reacting so much? Can I do something about fulfilling this task in front of me by being confused, being worried, being fearful? Or am I doing damage to my own system? It's a very simple thing, but not practiced. Because you allowed the thought to take you over. You allow the thought is me. I think, therefore I am. That is running underneath the Western civilization, not only Western, modern civilization around the world. The countries like India, China, all those places, they still have those awareness practices from which I learned, right? But only few percent of people are there. Most of them succeed into this Western civilization of the modern times. But Western civilization had this Christian contemplation, so many methods that told you that you have to calm your mind. You have to be still and know you are God. What's that? Western Christian concept, right? So be still. That's the important quality. Otherwise, you are going to disturb your vitality, which is called ojas in this one. How do you get them? By resting, you will rebuild your vitality. So, can you go and focus on something in your work and get without getting annoyed, without getting a lot of thoughts in your mind, and then reacting to them and producing the steroid, all these stress hormones? Or can you go and do something without these reactions in a flow like manner and learn the things, but don't get these emotional reactions to everything? Then you will have to go and understand what's the purpose of life. You have to understand how to organize your mind. You have to know what is that things that lead to fulfillment of that purpose. Okay, and then do that way. Suppose I'm a doctor. My job is to heal. My job is to respond to the suffering that I see in my patients. As the patients come, I can easily see whether they are perturbed, worried about their diagnosis, about their worry. On top of it, they may have symptoms. They have come with the symptoms. So I use my modern knowledge about testing and also understand disease process from a study, of constant study, right? Scientific endeavor. And once I diagnose that and how I break it to him, how I make him understand, is it a treatable disease or is it something incurable? Very few things are incurable modern times. But then if they are there, they are there. Because we are struggling to find that out. But then when I bring in the ancient wisdom of understanding what is a body, what is a mind, what is our real self, and how come this body and minds are instruments, but how come we identify with that? That's where the ignorance comes to modern life, right? So in modern life, the biology of burnout is coming from how you react, how you allow your mind movement take you over. Okay. On the other hand, you don't have that kind of disturbance. This is called equanimity of the mind in successful times and bad times. What does the American life world? You got to win. You got to make money. You got to get all these things. That is where you are not enough. But what you make, what you do is that. And then you are thinking constantly because you allow your intellect take over you. You are not in control of the intellect, but the intellect is in control of you. That is when the burnout is happening in doctors also. They come to a profession, many of them, most of them, to help the patient. But then the system itself dehumanizes them, kind of make them egotistical people, or really identifying with their intellectual achievements and understanding of the disease process and all. And they think they are superior than anybody else. But when you go to the life, there will be challenges. You cannot treat everybody. There will be some challenges. Then what happens? You kind of feel bad because you built up a bubble of ego. And that gets butchered because you find places where you cannot really do anything. You are only one in many to help the diseases, right? And now, in modern life, because this concentration of the fake things like accumulations, like ego inflation, like a profit orientation, all this take you away from your innate need of serving the life, serving the patient. That service spirit is gone, then you are not giving. You are kind of really want to say, I'm so great, I'm kind of treating everybody so everybody should worship me. But then that is not there in life. It will come to eventuality where you are also a human being. You are with everybody is in one place. That's a kind of philosophy, right? But basically, you don't take care of yourself very well because you're caught up in your thoughts, your emotions, your worries, and all that. So I devised a program called CSC, Comprehensive Self-Care for Physicians. All I addressed was, what are the pillars of wellness? Are you doing them properly? Do you eat properly? Do you rest and exercise properly? Do you sleep properly? Do you work on your mind so that mind is a tool and thoughts are not taking you over, but you are kind of not reacting, rather, you are responding to your responsibilities. So, in the biology of burnout, burnout is happening in the mind, and that too because we allow the mind to get a lot of junk into us. That's the stimuli, that's the advertisement, there's the marketing, that is the telling American life is making it in the terms of making a lot of money, having a big house, big car, but no real inner sense of. That's why many people are talented. Many people realize so many goals. Look at Robin Williams. Look at the chef in New York who was coming and going to all the places and doing all these wonderful shows, but then he suddenly died. So many of the people, they go into what's called, what the ancient described this very well. What did they do? They said, uh, okay, you are having four ways of things that you can choose. You can do only Ardha. Ardha means all the wealth. You can create wealth, external wealth, and you can go on creating it. However much you create, you still want more. So brief pleasure, brave, but then there is a fear that I may lose this, or there's a fear that I may not make as much as I want. Or this is, why do these people who have a lot of money always going on accumulating it, while many people are going without food? Equanimity is not there. And also, they identify their security with accumulation. So, Ardha is only meaningful as long as it is used for livelihood, as long as it is used for providing basic things and then sharing with other people too. Then the second thing is kama, that is, desire. Okay, so you have natural innocent desire, that's fine. But if you allow the desires to go like a uncontrolled horses, senses are done and desires are done, then you will never have peace. That is happening. Okay, people are addicted to so many pleasures, so many things: alcohol, smoking, drugs, variety of nonsense they do. Okay, but they never know the peace and quietness. The same thing with this burnout phenomena too. People are addicted to wrong things. People are influenced by information. If you are influenced by marketing, these marketing people, how much they get paid just to get your mind be influenced by that? They're not giving anything free. They're robbing your attention. When you are not attentive to your own self, and then external events take over, and then you will be allowing your mind go, and that biology of burnout I told you about, hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal, and all the stress hormones, they get you, right? So understand that, So once you understand the biology, how it happens, you can see by our own ignorance how our system works, how our system can be in flow, how our system can be very efficient is gone. We are not in control anymore. And thoughts lead to hormones, hormones lead to stress, right? Stress hormones especially, and the burnout too. They feel overwhelmed. Why? There's so much chemical reactions going on inside. The orientation is not about doing stuff and then building the constant iterative confidence by doing stuff well. That happens in flow when your mind is still and you are focused on what you are doing. That's how you improve your skill too. And you can create new brain by neuroplasticity, by understanding how these thoughts can be in cyclical fashion and destroy. On the other hand, if you make the thought more positive, more constructive, you can create new cortex. Literally create new cortex. This is a modern understanding of neuroplasticity. I kind of fortunate enough to be knowing that, and I use that and the yogic knowledge to recover from even a hemiplegia. Left side of my body was completely paralyzed. But see, now it is all pretty functional. So it's a kind of understanding mind from the ancient perspective helped me. Mind understanding from scientific perspective helped me. But not about these psychological theories that are based on thought. I personally believe, not prejudice, but I personally see this one person like Sigmund Freud or whoever, based on their thinking, they kind of formed all these psychological processes which were dismissed by people like Jiddu Krishnamurti. Initially, it was shocking. But then when you look closely, why people are having so much of psychotherapy but not having the results that they want? That means freedom from their depression, freedom from their anxiety. They have to alter the brain chemistry by giving medications. I don't take any medications. I use my skills of focusing, concentrating, and stilling the mind and working. Mind is not allowed to move as it wants because you are in awareness of even the thoughts that are coming in your vast sky of awareness. These thoughts are like clouds. So one of the things I teach in the morning routine is observe your thoughts. Who is the observer? That is the witness consciousness, your inner being, conscious being. Stay there and observe the thoughts as they come. Don't resist. Don't indulge in them. As if you choose to have something, that's fine. Otherwise, let them generate and go. How do they generate? Because you accumulate them as samskaras, ingrained thought. That is the cyclical thinking you want to break. How do you break? Just by being in the present. So I tell physicians, take a break 1 minute every hour. Take deep breaths, and the important thing is not only you are taking deep breath, but keep your attention on the air coming in and out, and so that you can come to the moment and be in the presence. And then being in the present, not really worried about all that happened, not worried about what is going to come, but here and now what's happening, that helps you to clear all the junk. That is moment to moment awareness. So biology of burnout is because how we react, how we allow ourselves to be reacting constantly. We have to have everything perfect, but anything goes a little bit that way, so we react as though our whole being is threatened. That becomes a habit. In modern life, plenty from morning to the end. So how do you encounter this? Suppose you have a mind that is reacting all the time, and you see that you are reacting for trivial things. You see that you don't have to react from your own experience, but you just have to respond to the task with a still mind, with a presence, and then you can solve the problem. You can pay attention. You can use all the energy that otherwise wasted in thinking, worrying, and all that, right? So how do you do that? I have come up with, granted, people are used to react, and they create their own mind by their reactions, and then the reactions become a pattern, right? So how do you get rid of them? Is a kind of stay still and observe the reactions and then let them dissolve. You can do this at the end of the day. Sit down, close your eyes, and recall the day in reverse order. From 9 o'clock in the evening, for example, you had dinner, and then you go to 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and the office, and lunch to the morning. Whatever you reacted to, whatever your mind reacted to, your mind reacted to, not you, the self. Your mind reacted to, bring them into focus and see them. Are they worth it? Are you reacting appropriately? Suppose something career, something relationship, something with your loved ones. Fine. You got to understand, you have to formulate a plan and then dump the reaction. Don't allow it to settle in your mind. So this I call ROR, review of reactions. You do it at the end of the day. And you discover for the first time, yeah, I'm being very reactive to everything that happens. And also out of proportion fear, out of proportion of danger is perceived, and that's why I'm activating my sympathetic nervous system. You don't do that. Okay, and then you will realize, okay, what are the consequences when I realize sympathetic heart disease? Because your blood pressure is high, your heart is cortisol is elevated, all the stress hormones are there, and then you don't have a means to really end that, and you allow that to accumulate. So even the people have good job and love what they do and have good relations and everything, they have this tendency to react. Modern life really breeds. And also, they don't allow you to build this inner resilience. For everything, there is a pill. For everything, there's something. Oh, you don't feel good? Go and take a glass of wine. I knew many women who start with taking a glass of wine because they feel stressed. They are also subject to the same stresses like men because they are also part of workforce now, right? So they have the same kind of thing that they will go to. Sometimes they are more sensitive and they cannot really take it equanimously and they react. So to suppress that, they take a glass of wine. And then that becomes not one glass, two glasses, not two glasses, four glasses. And then they become alcoholic. Many working executive, brilliant women I know, they have fallen into this because they were built oh, you can relax with wine and all that. No, you are robbing your own inner resilience by using these crutches. It could be smoking, it could be alcohol, it could be just thinking a lot. Okay, any number of things. So understand the biology starts with reaction. What is that technique? Your own thought patterns, your own mind. So understand that, observe them. Thoughts are happening to you, right? You're not happening to the thoughts. Thoughts are happening to you. And then be away and use them as objects, thoughts as objects. And if you start to do this, slowly the thought will come, doesn't have the energy to continue because you are not creating another thought to continue. You observing it, it will come and it will pass. Don't resist it or don't indulge in it. Okay? Remember my morning routine principles. Stretch your body and deep breathe into those stretches. Be really in the present moment and observing the thoughts. You'll be doing all these four while you're stretching and breathing with me. And you cultivate an attitude of service. That means I'm going to give to life. Not I'm going to ask so much from life, but I'm going to give to life. Okay? And then I'm going to be equanimous, whether I win or lose. Not allowing my mind go that way because all this fever that they build up in the modern life, anyway. Oh, you got to make it. You got to be first. You got to have all these things. Then only your success. No, you are a human being. You are a success. You have that forever fulfilling self within you, that abundance, that intelligent self. Be there. Then you don't need to calm your mind because your mind is already calm because of that. Your true nature is silence. Your true nature is stillness. Be there, then all the agitation of the mind, all the agitation of the thought will be subsided because you are not allowing it to grow. Okay, but you use it, what is proper, what is not. Okay, and then you are not allowed the emotional disturbance by the thoughts, sympathetic overtone. So deep breathing promotes that parasympathetic nervous system activations. I hope I'm clear on this. Everything, see, nervous system has central nervous system and peripheral nervous system, right? Central nervous system has the cortex. You can improve our own cortex by being in the prefrontal cortex, not in the limbic system, which is where all this hypothalamus, pituitary, and down the line, adrenal. All these things produce heart races, your blood pressure elevated, and these are not good. That's why heart disease is still number one killer, because the culture you have built is not about inner peace, is about external accumulation. Is it about they become the life, and if they are threatened, you kind of activate your sympathetic nervous system, and constantly you are building that in the work culture. That is the root of really not allowing the ojas, the vitality, the energy, the life that is there within us goes unbalanced. So don't do that. Understand the role of mind, understand the role of thought, and don't allow them to rule you. They should be your good servants, not the masters. Much of the burnout is happening in modern life is because they are doing that. Your nature is your inner self that is quite calm. But you are caught in the thoughts continuously. Suppose you are doing some activity, some social activity, some uh, work for the society. Still, you are caught up in the ego. Still, you are caught up on the rapid thought. No stillness. But this is the great thing about the ancient is they were doing samadhi in the morning and as much as they can. That means they're stilling their thought and establishing themselves in that silence, that silent self. Once you are in that true nature of yours, then you are naturally, thought is silent. Thought is not moving randomly. It's going in a certain way, and then you also know when to stop. But this one is called awareness. You ended up in the awareness, not in thought, can be natural movement to movement. You take a step, you use the thought consciously, and then end the thought after that is done. How many people are doing this? That's the question. That's where I kind of talk to people when they come with overwhelmed, stressed out, burned out, don't know where to go, and their mind is bothering them, and they kind of can't stop the chatter. But there are so many modern ways that we allow us influence the thought to perpetuate. It's called network of thought. You start with one thought, and that thought leads to another thought, that leads to another thought very rapidly at mercurial speed. The more you allow it like that, the more you really mistake that is really being intelligent, that is really being clever, and you're going to get a lot of it. That's why you study so many people, but you never examine your own inner self. This is what I told several times on this app, other apps too, that it's not collectively you grow. It's not by exchanging information you grow. That is the wrong instrument. Okay? It is understanding the instrument and using it wisely. That is what the ancient wisdom did. They lived mostly simple outward life, not this frenetic craze about getting a lot of money, getting so many thousands of dollars. And look at American conferences here. Everywhere you go, oh, I made 100,000. I made 40,000. As though that is the only way that you get fulfilled. Actually, that is a diminishing return. The more you have this accumulation, the more you want. The more you want this desire, the more you want. But they have to be done in the right way. That's why dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Moksha is what? Where you have relief from this mind. Your chattering, your always saying. That leads to the burnout. So that's what I want to say about this day, about the biology burnout. So we are trying to help out to see burnout as a imbalance that is reversible. Okay, so as I told you from the scientific perspective, hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis, and that leads to adrenal fatigue also. Okay, but if you take the wisdom from the ancients, Ayurveda concept of ojas. Ojas is the vital energy, and how if you rest and being worried like this, you rebuild that vitality. You can see that your own body, your own mind rest and peace of mind. And people do bhajans, people do so many singing, so much of repeating mantras and all that. All those things are for that. So I'm going to give you a sunset ritual. what you could do, um, so you can think like this is sunset is the digital sunset. So you want to put away all the things that you are otherwise allowing to accumulate in your mind. Actively think about what is going on in your mind and then empty them. How do you do that? Suppose you are having so many thoughts. Examine, first of all, slow the thought by deep breathing. Then come to one thought and see what is this thought about. And then sunset that digital accumulation of so many things, because we're in the digital age, we do a lot of stuff, right? And then completely empty that. Trivial things, completely done. Important thing, note somewhere else. And then forget about what's right. And that really gives you a pause, and then you will say, I'm going to do 5 breath reflection before sleep. So evening ritual is digital sunset of all the things that are not needed, even they are needed out of your mind onto a paper or device, and then do 5 deep breaths before sleep. Remember, closing line is healing begins when you stop running away from rest, mind, thought, physical. So sleep has this innate detoxifying effect on your brain, on your liver, on your kidneys, on all your mind and body. Okay, so have that exercise and don't accumulate anything inside. That is for today. And then I would be introducing you to what is a pause. What is the wisdom of pause? How is the silence can be introduced as medicine? Okay, so um, we will introduce you neuroscience says default mode network. Okay, and we will also talk about ancient responses, choiceless awareness. What is that? How can you be in the choiceless? Because you don't have a choice about being aware. So, but if you want to cultivate that awareness, no, it is already there. Just be in that choiceless awareness. Okay, so we will show you what is the body scan and how you notice your sensations and all that. Okay, so that is important to understand. In this information age, as an informatician, I know clear distinction between constant information to what is relevant to my purpose and how I organize my mind. That's very important. That has given me enormous energy. Otherwise, wasted in unnecessary thinking. You talk, talk, talk. You say things, think continuously. You think about things continuously. That's not a very clever thing for me. Be quiet. And in yoga, they take you all the way to samadhi, where chitta vritti nirodha happens. Modulation of the mind are quite done. Then you stay there more than 120 seconds. That is very valuable for you to begin with. But this is called Raja Yoga, studying your mind by your own mind. After all, we operate our mind, everything, but then make it a servant. Don't make it the master. That is the problem with the modern people. They make thought as their master and allow it to function whichever way it goes, and that is going to be a mechanical failure. That is what is happening with a lot of burnout. It is not only doctors, anybody dealing with this, it's going to get worse because we're going to have more and more of onslaught with the data. I am a data person. I use the data, but I don't let the data influence me inside. Okay? It's as simple as you want your book in your head, or you want to read a book and enjoy and learn from it. It's as simple as that. Okay? One of the things about this Raja Yoga is they have got Ashtaga, 8 parts. First, you got to be, ethical and moral. Those two are the first two steps. Be ethical in your dealings with your world, and really employ moral values and everything, universal values to be inside. Okay, and then how you manage yourself, how you relate to the persons and everything, and then you do the physical culture of asana to make body work and exercise and allow the function better. And you deep breathe. That's the fourth one. So whereby your ojas, this vital energy is maintained within you. Okay, your metabolism, your cellular biology, everything is influenced on the oxygen, right? So the more efficient you are in the respiration, the more energy you have. Okay, and as a yogi, you see the value of the prana, that is the life-giving means coming into us. So be reverent, be grateful for that. Okay, and that become much more significant of pranayama. Very important. Okay, and then once you have moral and ethical values, once you have cultivated a physical culture and breathe energy into it, then withdraw all your senses from outward to going inward. So senses always go outward. You want to be making senses go in a particular direction, you want to withdraw them. You don't allow the horses to go at their will. They will run all over. You want to control them with the reins, with the positive thoughts and all that, right? And then after you withdraw the senses, they're telling the mind, hey, mind, I'm going to do something for you. I'm going to gather all your thoughts. That is dharana, right? The fifth one. And then I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to come to one thought and stay with the one thought. That is the dhyana, meditation. More than 120 seconds. If you can stay there, then you will slip into this silent stillness state of samadhi. So, yama, niyama are the moral and ethical. Asana is the body mind, and then pranayama is the breathing, and pratyahara, withdrawal senses, dharana, concentration, all thoughts, scattered thoughts into one, and then dhyana, staying with one thought and staying for some time, and then attaining the state of awareness and meditation where you are silent. Not that you get the state. You have to eliminate all the problems, then you will attain the state of being in that samadhi, stillness of mind. Okay? Don't do all these practices of the meditation when you don't understand what is real meditation is. When you see the uh, real nature is such that that is in silence, that has a mind, that has a body, and that can allow the mind to function properly by being a master of it, and then making the mind be silent otherwise. That is being in awareness, and that awareness is choiceless, is there already. So you're not going to become something. You're going to discover something is already there with you. But your mind is chattering. Your mind is always busy. You will never be able to see that. So then you say, oh, my mind is going all over, then I will say the meditation. Do that. But the real thing is catching hold of your real inner self. That is a choiceless awareness, and staying there where mind is not going all over. Mind will stop by itself. Okay? I have a beautiful saying from Ramana Maharshi, which I framed and put in my um, basement in my yoga studio, that says, the thoughts change, but not you. That is the choice. Awareness is the you. You don't change. Let go the passing thoughts and hold on to the unchanging self. That is when you do it, you are in awareness. You don't need to do the physical act of meditation and all that. Why meditation is not really successful to get this kind of silence of the mind is people don't practice, people don't really develop an attitude of vairagya, that means dispassion to all these onslaughts of information, stimuli, and all that, right? So See, your thoughts form your bondage. I'm continuing the reading his thing. If they are given up, there is release. You need not cease thinking. Only think of the root of the thoughts. Root of the thought. Seek it and find it. Then you will see they are all repetition, they are all coming from our own bank of thoughts and all that, right? Then the self, that is your inner choiceless awareness, shines by itself, self-luminous. And when that happens, thoughts cease on their own. That's the magic. Thoughts cease on their own, and then you use it when you want to do it. Okay? This is freedom from bondage. Thoughts form your bondage. This bondage is gone. And then you are free in your mind. Absolutely wonderful. Okay? So understand that inner self is pristine. That pristine self is very close to us. Once the pristine self is realized, then you have a mind that is calm, but when you're using it, you will use it very effectively, very focusedly, and then get your things done in a flow. Don't think you are such a wise person because you're thinking a lot. That's not helping your cause of really enjoying our inner self, our silence, our stillness. So be in choiceless awareness and live every moment for what it is. And don't let your thoughts of past, thoughts of future influence the present moment. Get the lessons, life lessons from the past. But why do you have to go there and live it? Plan for the future, but execute the plan in the present. It's all about the process. It's about how you are approaching it, how you are using your instruments of mind and body. Okay? So, thank you. And it's almost 1 hour. Anybody wants to come up anywhere, I'll be happy to. Hi, Prasad. How are you?
I'm doing good, Dr. Ram. Today's um, session is awesome. I learned a lot of things.
Yeah, this is a new podcast I started yesterday. And every day on the weekdays, morning 9 o'clock, I'll be doing this. Probably 8:30 p.m. in India. Okay, half an hour right now, our hours have changed.
Yeah, it's 9:26 now. Considering our daylight adjustment.
Yeah,
daylight time.
8:30 p.m. is your time, 9 a.m. my time. So now you know that anyway. So
yeah.
So this is a podcast that's going to be running on the weekdays every day for a while, so that I can present on this how to be proactively well. How can we learn about it? Yesterday I talked about doing too much stuff without really paying attention to our inner being. Okay, too much doing and Janet is asking me evening ritual. Yeah, evening ritual, you consider sunset as a sunset of digital material in your mind, Janet, and then you take deep breaths and let the mind settle down and go. But what the review of reactions are, when you are looking at the sunset, use the sunset as the digital sunset of your information within you. Review all the reactions that you had through the day. You may have visited your grandchildren or children or your friends or seen some TV, whatever. What was your inner reaction? Recall it and put it in perspective. Is this really needed in my life or not? If it is not needed, dump it right away. But nobody does this exercise. They just accumulate reactions and go, and then what they happen? They go subconscious, and they form their own samskaras. They call ingrained thoughts, and they form a neurological pathway, and they are coming back to you when you are not aware. Okay, so people are really worried about all these thoughts hunting them. After all, thoughts are we should be objects for us, and we should be observing them. Obviously, Western culture is caught in thinking constantly. And that is not, see, Western, we talked about doing stuff all the time, not getting enough time to reflect. Today, we're talking about thinking all the time without really putting them in order. So, go to bed. Before you go to bed, take deep breaths and calm yourself. Think that you are going to sunset the digital matter. Then review all the reactions that you had during the day and all the unnecessary, trivial things that you are unnecessarily reacting, put them away. But the reactions that you had for something like important things for your life, for your work, for your loved ones, and all that, write them on a paper or on a device, and then take them out of your mind. So that way you are not missing all the important appointments, important things you have to do for your livelihood, important things you want to do that you promise somebody, or important things you want to do for a loved ones and all. So that kind of organization you want to attempt. Basically, what you are doing is take out all the reactions and then dump them out. But some of them important, you write them and then dump them out still. So you want to vacate your mind at the end of the day. Remember my formula? Wake up in awareness. Don't allow the thoughts take on their own life and go. This is described in ancient wisdom as Chit Jada Grandhi. Our body doesn't say I am. Our inner pristine self, the conscious being, doesn't say I am. Right? But our projection of thought comes and say I am. And we allow that to continue by continuously thinking. And that is where you want to stop. Okay, that is like a knot between the body and our soul. This projecting mind, projecting thought. You want to use it, but you don't want it to let go on its own. That's when the people get into trouble. Network of thought is made. All the samskaras or ingrained thoughts are happen, and then your subconscious self kind of forms, and then that comes out into your own control, right? So that's why people say, I don't know where the thoughts are coming from, because you never allowed the thoughts to go out of your mind. You probably, it's a foreign concept for everybody. But that's what yogis and ancient cultures based on body mind awareness, they are built on that. So they have a tremendous quality of sleep because they will not allow all these thoughts to come. This is like a modern phenomenon. Like I told you, Eric Descartes, when he said, I think I am, therefore I am, that's the mistake identity that we are the thoughts, but not that we are having thoughts. So at night time, consider that like a digital sunset, take deep breaths, review all the reactions, and dump them out of your mind. Okay? So that's a good question, Janet. I'm glad you asked me that. So you can remember that evening ritual and do that every day. No exception. Do that every day. Initially, you may not, but then remember that, write it down, put it in front of your bed where you can see it, and then you do it. It's not understanding. It's not just getting an idea, but it's doing it for you is important. Like in the morning routine, I always say, observe your thought, right? Like that, you learn to be the conscious being of conscious of your thought and use the thought consciously and end it consciously. That happens when you are in the moment to moment awareness. Okay? It's not like something that you do routinely. You just be aware of what is happening, what's going on here in life, what is happening with my things that I do, how do I react, all those things. Okay. All right. Anybody else, or before I close? This um, this podcast material is going to happen every day. So instead of me just talking, you can also come up with questions and inquiries, or come and contribute what you do in this respect. First of all, do you have silence of the mind? Are you still uh, struggling with that? Then you can't enjoy the pleasure of being the really intelligent human being who doesn't allow thoughts to take over you, but then use the thoughts properly. Okay, just because you know information, just because you know a lot of material, doesn't mean your mind is silent. That's the question. That's the test to see whether we are really, uh, awakening our intelligence, whereby our intelligence sees the mechanical network of thoughts forming. You are giving life to it by not knowing what is the mechanism of mind, thought, all these stress hormones, and how it is destroying us. In burnout, that's what they come. They feel overwhelmed. They feel they are not enjoying the job. They feel that nobody is respecting them, and they feel like they are lost, and they can't regain that passion for the profession and really feel good and not able to take care of themselves. All these things come. Then I invite them to go back to the nature, outward nature, natural earth and everything, and also their own inner nature, which is this choiceless awareness. Okay. Once you establish yourself in that choiceless awareness, then you can see the thought patterns, you can see the egotistical patterns, you can see the emotional reactions, and then they seem to be going down. I hardly have reactions to eliminate at the night because I move from moment to moment awareness, not thought, moment to moment, but use thought consciously. Remember my formula: wake up in awareness, establish in that awareness, and be attentive to whatever you do without moving from that, whatever you're doing in the process. And all through the day, you are attentive to everything that you do. At the end of the day, vacate your mind. AAV. Awareness, attention, vacation. Okay. Last chance. Anybody unknown by wants to come up? You are welcome to come. Otherwise, I'll close it today. Okay, everybody. Goodbye for today. So 1 hour we wanted to do, and we'll do tomorrow on the wisdom of the pause. Why do you have to pause? How do you um, really allow the default mode network to pass? Okay, so I will talk to you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye, Janet. See you later.